Spiritual language is everywhere right now. It's healing, embodiment, awakening, trauma, intuition. We're fluent in the vocabulary of transformation, but fluency doesn't always mean depth. And in this episode, we're exploring performative spirituality. The subtle and not so subtle ways spirituality becomes something that we display rather than something we live. Not because people are malicious or insincere, but because in a culture that rewards visibility, certainty, and emotional intensity, it's really easy to mistake expression for embodiment. And we're not interested in calling anybody out or drawing clean lines between what's real and fake spirituality. What we are interested in is coherence, the relationship between inner work and outer expression, insight and integration, between power and responsibility. Not to condemn anything, but to understand it and to notice where it might be showing up in our own lives. As you listen, we invite you to stay curious rather than certain. Not about who's doing spirituality right or wrong, but about the gap between what we say, what we feel, and how we actually live in relationship. This is a conversation about performative spirituality and about what it takes to move from performance into practice. I want to make sure that I can honor that everybody has their own journey that they're on.
Very good.
And that there is infinite space for people's story and experience.
Yes.
And also,
I
have a really strong reaction to performative spirituality.
Right. Okay. So this is the other thing I thought maybe it would be beneficial to clarify is that sometimes spirituality can be performed and that's not necessarily performative spirituality.
Okay. So how would you delineate between those two, performing spirituality versus performative spirituality?
Well, I think of like performances that are inherently spiritual, right? Like honestly, every time I go to a Cirque du Soleil show, I have a spiritual experience, right? And that's from a performance.
Yeah.
But that's not performative spirituality.
Right. So there's like a way that maybe like a performance or even maybe like a ceremony.
Right.
We're moving through forms.
Yes.
That can be a mystical or spiritual experience.
Absolutely. And even the like ecstatic experience of being in an audience, right, can be a spiritual experience. But again, that's not performative spirituality.
Right. Yeah, because there is a need to be together.
Yeah.
Spirituality, like mystical experiences, ecstatic experiences, like this is part of the needed experience of the human psyche.
Right.
The collective psyche.
Right. And sometimes those are led through the performance of an individual.
Right.
Right. So then how that differs from performative spirituality, right, where we get somebody up who is not actually embodying the things that they are preaching or the things that they're trying to, tell everybody else to do, that then comes into more of the performative spirituality realm, right?
Right. Yes. There is a certain sense of a lack of authentic or embodied expression.
Exactly. Yep. And that's the performative spirituality aspect.
Right. I actually had an experience today that made me think about this.
Okay. Do tell.
Well, I feel like we've talked about this a little bit before when we talk about the pageantry of ritual.
Yes.
Right. But when you're in an environment that is designed to facilitate a spiritual experience or is supposed to be intrinsically spiritual in nature.
Right.
But the emphasis isn't on the experience. The emphasis is on the form.
Oh.
Like we're observing the forms.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I need to say these specific phrases in this specific order.
Yes.
And if I get it wrong, I have to like go back and restart.
Yes.
Because I'm being judged on the quality of my adherence to the forms of the experience.
Yes. Okay. So within Mormonism specifically, because that's the, ritual, spiritual, religious place I grew up in, there was this joke about the prayers that would be said at the beginning of like youth meetings, where it was always like, bless the treats that are being, but it was always like donuts.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
bless these that they will nourish and strengthen our bodies. Like a donut isn't doing much for you.
No.
That's a very performative spirituality kind of a thing that we do with just without even thinking, but we've checked the boxes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are these ritual phrases that we have to honor and observe. The other thing that I was thinking about actually, and I was reading this, is maybe where we're actually trying to push against that.
Mm-hmm.
We're stepping away from this like really rigid structure of like a spiritual ceremony or experience, but we're chasing the high, like the spiritual high, like we're chasing that altered state experience.
Yeah.
But we're unwilling to come back into that embodied state afterwards.
Okay. So where I see that, at least if I'm understanding you correctly, where I see that a lot is where people conflate emotions with spirit, right? Where they're telling an emotional story to elicit a reaction, but there's no spiritual substance to it.
Okay. Like say more.
Okay, so the first time I noticed this, it was when I was going through my divorce, actually. And I was at a church meeting and somebody started to tell a story and I started feeling emotional about it. And, you know, divorce is so difficult and hard anyway. I was already on the edge with all of my emotions. They were already so close to the surface that when this started, I was like, I don't need this. This actually isn't nourishing me. This isn't feeding me spiritually. This is to elicit an emotion, and I don't need that right now. And I got up and I left. And that was the first time I had that realization, right? That there was a like performative aspect to eliciting spiritual experiences that aren't actually spiritual at all.
Yeah, we're conflating emotional expression with spirituality.
Yeah. And forced emotional expression at that. It wasn't a like natural experience of like people connecting. No, I was telling a sad story about, I don't even remember what it was, but it was a sad story. It wasn't a, it wasn't a connective experience.
Right. Yeah. Which makes me like, it brings it up. Like there is a way that like you can feel the disconnect when someone's in a performative space.
Yeah.
Like there's a wrongness, just something feels off about the experience. And you can sense a little bit of like, when am I measuring success by the amount of tears that flow?
Yeah.
Where it's like, that's not actually like an appropriate measure.
Yeah.
Like different people experience like mystical or spiritual experiences in different ways.
Yes, absolutely.
And tears aren't necessarily an indicator of success.
Exactly. And they're not an indicator that it's not successful either. Right. It's being able to be in touch and understand and, you know, differentiate for yourself, of course. I also think of like maybe the mega churches, right, where they put on these big, huge performances, right? Or like spiritual healing, even like a lot of those get into that performative space.
They do. Yeah. Where it is like, it's about the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's like something about like what's the word I'm looking for? But yeah, it's like all of the emphasis is on the exterior.
Right.
Of it. It's a facade.
Right. Which I think this goes hand in hand with what we talked about last season with the spiritual bypass, right? Where we're using these performances or where others are using these performances to bypass that deeper inner work where we're really looking at ourselves and trying to connect to spirit, where we're trying to connect to a better place or more community or whatever it is.
When it feels really rooted in, it feels really rooted in like the shadow, right? Like Connie Zweig, she wrote this book, Meeting the Shadow on the Spiritual Path. And I really love it because she talks about how she really reinforces that spirituality, like some kind of spiritual dynamic is important to the psyche. Like we all need these types of experiences in one form or another. All of us come to a place where we need someone to guide us in those experiences, to help us kind of learn the nuance of it.
Okay.
And in those moments, the teacher and the student, or whatever that relationship dynamic is, there's shadow that's present. There's unintegrated wounds on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And that for us, if we put too much, like if we transfer too much of our own unintegrated material into the dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
and the person who's leading doesn't like reject or give that back, but they take it in,
Mm-hmm.
they then step into this like place of power over,
Yeah.
which then like we're no longer like the primary dynamic is no longer the spiritual journey.
Mm-hmm.
It is this like power dynamic
Yeah.
of like, I am now the guru. I am the
Right.
source,
Right.
rather than I am the one helping you to access within. You need to come to me.
Oh, yes. I think that's such a huge part of performative spirituality and such a huge part of the like unhealthy dynamics that we see so often within organized religion, right? Which it's been a long time since I've studied the Bible, but wasn't that a thing too? Like Jesus talked about that, like when paying for that, like, here, get me to heaven, right? That's not a thing. We can't do that. We can't pay our way in there, right? And creating those unhealthy power dynamics, right? Where you have to come to me to get your, next level of spirituality is not actually the case. And it is very unhealthy and abusive, right? Rather than a, ideal guru, whatever, helping you to look inward and find that growth within yourself that already exists.
Yeah. And unfortunately it is so common.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the things that we saw with like the Me Too movement. We saw it with like all of the investigations into different religious leaders that happened. And I mean, it happens in all other places too.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Got a lot of feelings about that.
I would imagine you would.
Yes. But it is such a problem,
Yeah.
right? And like, I feel like it can even come into like outside of an organized religious space. Like we can see this in other spaces too.
Mm-hmm.
Like different people have different like gifts or abilities or whatever we want to call it, like different talents.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people are really like connected and in tune with kind of the way the energy flows in and between people and those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And I feel like one example that I've seen is like when you have to go like in a tarot card reading,
Mm-hmm.
there can be a certain degree of showiness about it,
Mm-hmm.
or even like I'm channeling the truth for you,
Right.
rather than I am I'm attuned and helping you find what is necessary within yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So particularly with tarot, and I actually think this is true of any form that uses archetypes, right? So tarot, astrology, any of those forms that use archetypes are really a way for the person to reach those depths, to go into the darkness, right? And then the tarot, the astrology, whatever else, Rorschach cards, any of that just becomes a tool to access that. So it's funny because I keep tarot cards in my office, right? And every once in a while I get a client who asks about them and like, hey, can we do a card reading or whatever? I'm like, okay, but here we have to understand this is not a like, there's no magic here, right? The magic is that everything is already inside you and these are just a tool to help you to access it. And so we're going to talk about what you see. We're going to talk about what comes up for you. IFS is the same way, EMDR. All of these are tools to access that inner world, right? And yes, there's a facilitator that can help that, but that isn't the like, you have to come to me because I'm the only person who can do this for you.
Right.
Yeah. This is very much like, I'm going to teach you how to do this. There are so many other people who can do this too. You can do this for yourself even.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like ultimately when we have these experiences, like tarot is one example, but like, and in tarot, we would say like or even in dream work,
Mm-hmm.
like the dreamer is the oracle.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's the dreamer's material
Right.
that we're looking at.
Yes.
And they are the expert on their own
Yes.
inner world.
Yes. And then sometimes we act as an interpreter, right? And that's all that it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And often I feel like, when we sit in these spaces with people, it's like, I'm going to like prompt or reflect or help you reframe or something as a way to engage differently or hear what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Or like share with you what's happening in my system and see how it lands with you.
Yeah.
Where like we're the sounding board, we're the container.
Yes.
That helps there be safety to explore.
Yeah. Yeah. That's such a good way to put it. I often think of myself as the observer, right? We all know like when something's observed, it changes, right? And so oftentimes with the clients, like I just act as the observer and occasionally will point out stuff. But my favorite is when they say it and I just go, wait, what did you just say? And then they repeat it and it's this like light bulb moment, right? But that's because it all came from within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is so different than some of the shows that we see people put on.
Yes, exactly.
And it really, like, I was really glad you brought up spiritual bypass. I mean, it feels like this performative experience of spirituality is connected intrinsically to spiritual bypass.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm even just thinking about like the idea that one of the ideas we talked about in my deep imagery training is you can only take someone as deep as you've already gone.
Yeah, totally.
And like in spiritual bypass, there's this way of always trying to be at this like height, like this high level of like, and not being willing to integrate and alchemize your experience, like bring it back into the body.
Yep.
And like, you can't actually take somebody deeper.
Yeah.
If you aren't even fully in your body.
Yeah. You know where else I see this a lot is in the language that people use. You probably see this with therapy too, is that like people can perform being therapized by using therapy language, right? Like, I have a boundary, don't cross my boundary. And we're like, well, that's not really a boundary, right? Or you're gaslighting me. Well, that's not really gaslighting. All these pop psychology terms that get real popular, but then people don't know what they're using or how they're saying it, or they haven't done that deep inner work, right? I think we see this in all areas, right? Whether it's spiritual and religious, whether it's political, mental health, even physical health and well-being, that people can get these buzzwords. They know how to use them. They can use them in a conversation. But again, there's not that deeper work and that transformation that's happening.
Yeah, I love that. Like when we rely too much on trappings, we miss the transformation, which really does feel, that feels dangerous.
Yeah.
To a degree.
But I think it can be dangerous.
Yeah, it can be.
Like within the queer community, we talk a lot about rainbow capitalism, right? Where we've got these big corporations who are waving their rainbow flag, they're selling the rainbow merchandise, but then their policies and the way that they act out in the world doesn't reflect a protection of those communities that they're making money off of.
That's really, that does feel like it's like an accurate,
Yeah, it's performative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which sucks. Oh, and like that feels important too, because it's like I'm almost preying on the vulnerability of a person or a community.
Yes, exactly. And I think that is like a total reflection of what sometimes happens in these religious or spiritual communities or new age kind of stuff, is that we get people who are preying on the vulnerable, who are preying on people who do want to do that work, who have been traumatized, who are wanting some enlightenment, some learning, some change and transformation in their lives, but aren't getting it because the guru they're going to is performative only and doesn't actually do their own work, doesn't care about others doing their work. They're in it for, I don't know, what.
Yeah, and it feels like there's a spectrum of experience there. There's like like what you were saying with like the rainbow capitalism, that feels pretty blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
Like there's what appears to be a pretty clear-cut intentionality.
Right.
I'm making money by leveraging the vulnerability of a community.
Yep.
And then also leveraging like opportunity for power from like completely like oppositional like policies.
Yes.
And then on the other side, I think there is like an unconscious way of doing that too.
Yes.
Of I'm not intentionally doing this. It happens naturally.
Yes.
Because of my own wounds that haven't been looked at.
Right. Or even because of the structures that we've been raised in, right? Sociopolitical or whatever, is that when we've been raised with the biases, with whatever it is, we're not always aware of it. And that's why doing your own work is so important, so that you can go in and find that oppressor within yourself. Right?
Yeah. Okay. I think you like this. I was reading something.
Oh, goody. Okay.
Well, just because we were talking about archetypes, I mean, archetypes live in all of us.
Yes.
And I was reading a book called The Shadow King.
Okay.
Which the author, I can't remember the author's name.
It happens.
She said the Shadow King also shows up as the inner patriarchy.
Oh, yeah.
And like it has this archetypal function. It's like the voice of patriarchy that lives within me.
Yes.
That like keeps me silent.
Yes.
Keeps me contained and repressed.
Yes.
One of the thoughts I was having is like we do unconsciously embody cultural norms.
Mm-hmm.
And if that is the structure that we have grown up with, unless we deal with it,
right,
the inner patriarchy, the shadow king will show up.
Yes.
To like be in a repressive,
yes,
or oppressive way.
Yeah.
In any kind of dynamic that could have some kind of power relationship.
I had such an interesting experience. I think it was just this last week. I saw a new client, and at the end, I always give my clients like an opportunity. Hey, do you have any questions for me? Anything you'd want to know about me that'll help you to feel more comfortable with me as your therapist? And usually I get nothing, or I'll get, like pretty basic questions. But this time, the question I got was, do you have any biases that you think might affect the therapeutic relationship? I was like, I've never been asked that before, and I had to sit with it, because of, my immediate response is like, no, of course not. Like everything you told me, I'm here to hold space for it and to help you and whatever else. But I realized I needed to acknowledge that I am currently a part of and was definitely raised in systems that do have biases against all sorts of different things. And so it's important to acknowledge that those systems still exist, and that I am still a part of some of them, and that I'm going to continue to do my work, right? I couldn't just immediately be like, no, of course not. Of course I don't have any biases, right? But we do. We all do. And until we look at that internalized patriarchy, that internalized homophobia, that internalized racism, whatever it is, right? We haven't done that work. We can't just immediately say, no, of course not. I don't have any biases. Just because I don't want them doesn't mean they aren't there, because they are.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, I was even just thinking about how, organized religion and people who then exit organized religion, there's a period of time where there's so much friction and tension around it.
Yes.
Where the bias is so present.
Yeah.
Because so much of my experience with spirituality becomes in opposition to.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily authentic yet.
Yeah.
Outside of I'm making a choice.
Yeah. Yeah. I see that so much, especially when the leaving of religion is tied to or concurrent with a sexual awakening or a gender identity crisis, anything like that. Not even undoing, but understanding and deconstructing all of that is sometimes an incredibly painful process and long process. And on the other side, it looks completely different. And that's terrifying too. But even from me having done my own work, having to address all of that, yes, internal biases against myself was painful. And it's still ongoing. And I still have to check in with myself sometimes and go, okay, wait a second. Like, where am I sitting with this? And having to get in touch with my body and tap into that somatic work that I've done. And it's not easy.
It's really not. No, it really isn't. And I mean, one of the things that comes up that I feel like is an indicator for me that there is going to be a performative quality is when someone says something to the extent of, well, I've already done my healing. Just because like everything that I understand about how trauma works and how healing works, that phrase is incongruent.
Yeah. I explain it often like working on our physical body, right? Like it's something you got to do every day. And if you stop exercising, right? This last couple of years, I've been dealing with all of these physical health stuff and long COVID and everything else. And I haven't really consistently exercised in a long time. And walking around my block, I get winded now, right? Because I haven't been doing that daily, every single day, working on my body and my health. And your mental health, your spiritual health, your emotional health is the same way. It's not like I've done my work and great, one and done. I've healed. I'm all better now. It's not like that at all. It's a constant, every single day thing that you have to do.
Yeah. It's just really hard. Like you said, it's so hard.
It is so hard. Yeah.
Like there are definitely weeks where I'm like, I really would love to not do therapy this week.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I really want to look at what's inside today.
Oh, that's so real. Ooh, that's so real.
I would much rather pretend that I'm okay.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
not look at it.
Yeah.
Even though I know that by looking at it, it's going to get better.
Yes.
I just sometimes don't want to do the hard.
Yes. And there does come a time where like you don't have to be doing therapy every single week, right? Where the maintenance looks like the journaling and the meditation and the connecting to your community, right? It's not always the hard work of training for a marathon that we do, right? Yeah. Sometimes it's maintenance.
Yes. Which I think is also important to acknowledge, right?
Yeah.
That like there are periods of time where maybe there is more intensity to kind of like working with my inner material.
Yeah.
And there are other times where there's less intensity. Like I need a little bit of a space and just be in a maintenance phase.
Yeah.
And that's okay too.
Yeah. Yeah. It is okay. It's important actually. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like rest. It's like really important.
Yeah. So weird, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rest is very important. That hibernation period, we actually all do need that.
Yes,
Go into your bear cave and just sleep for 4 months.
Right. Yes. Which like it is such a helpful thing too. Like that's an indicator I feel like for me when I'm working with somebody who really is in a good place, when they can honor the need for rest.
Yeah.
When they're like, oh, if that's what your body is telling you, let's honor that. Let's understand it. Why is it telling you that? And then let's honor that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to like grind it out today.
Yeah. The thing with rest too is that like, yes, absolutely rest can be healing. Rest is so important, but rest can also be spiritual. Rest can also be doing that work, right? If you're intentional and deliberate with it, if you've incorporated that mindfulness piece into whatever the rest is, that can also be part of the work.
True. Yeah. I mean, I guess it makes me think of just the term spirituality itself.
Yeah.
And because I've just been sitting here thinking like, okay, we're talking about the performative nature of a thing. And like, I guess one of the ways I've seen spirituality explored is with like when you have two axes, like perpendicular axes, you have the vertical and the horizontal. And there is this like spirituality is this kind of transcendent experience of connection, right? Of like I'm connecting to something or someone else in a way that there's like a non-dual or a oneness type experience.
Okay.
But the other side of that is other than the transcendent, the incendent, when I'm connecting to myself more. And those are like intrinsically linked.
Yeah.
And you always need to be like in this place of balance where I like, yes, I need to have a transcendent experience and also go inside myself too and be connected to myself.
I mean, I would argue that you can't have the transcendent experience unless you really are connected to yourself.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, like what you mean, how you see it.
Well, yeah, there's a lot. I think partially it's because the God that I feel like so many people seek is really more of an internal experience. And I think all that we experience now, we experience through sensation and perception, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because that's the nature of what being in this meat suit is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so being connected to the meat suit gives us that space for sensation and perception. And the more connected we are to it, I think the broader that experience is.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Plus also, I mean, like as we are connected to ourselves, then there is some kind of spiritual, transcendent, mystical type experience. Like we're talking about like an altered state type experience.
Sure.
But there is a component of that where we learn something new,
Mm-hmm.
which we then have to bring internally in a way where we get to integrate that.
Yeah.
Right. And also, the body is the one that's going to indicate to us if something is off
Yeah.
or something needs to change.
Yes.
So if I'm in a state, like I'm in an experience with another person,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not connected to my body, I can get swept up in a moment that actually is harmful,
Yeah.
where my body would be saying, stop, something's not right here.
Yeah. So oftentimes in therapy, we talk about like building trust, right? That's often, especially in the couples work,
Mm-hmm.
that we're building trust. But so often too, we're building trust with our body, right? Helping our body learn to trust us, that we can make decisions that are going to keep us aligned with what our body is trying to tell us.
Yeah.
Right. And building trust is just time and consistency. So it's those two things. So the more I listen to my body, the more I make decisions based on those sensations,
Mm-hmm.
the more my body trusts me to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And I calm down and my system feels safe and I am not in constant fight or flight because I can trust myself to make the decisions that will keep me safe.
Yeah. Which is so important.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, sometimes we're in systems where feeling safe is just not possible, but
I agree with that.
ideally,
Yeah.
that's what we want.
Mm-hmm. I think we might have talked about this experience, but I was in a meeting recently, like it was probably like a month ago,
Mm-hmm.
where someone brought in like a guest presenter, and the whole idea was that it was going to be an experiential
Mm-hmm.
kind of presentation, learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
And in that experience, it was like really apparent to me that something was not right. And I had this sense of like, I just need to get the heck out of this room.
Mm.
Like everything in my body was like screaming,
Yeah.
this is not right.
Yeah.
This is not okay. And and I also realized that in that moment, I felt very uncomfortable with the idea of leaving.
Yeah.
Because I think partly because of my own anxiety, where I'm like, oh my gosh, like if I leave, everyone will hate me and reject me.
Yep.
And then I'll lose my job and then I'll be whatever.
Yes.
Okay. So I was aware enough of that to say like, okay, I can make a compromise with my system. I can be in the room and use my journal as a way to express the things that need to come out.
Oh, that's genius.
Because sometimes we are in a scenario where we do feel like we can't leave.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's social pressure.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's internal pressure.
Yeah.
But it was this nice like outlet.
Yeah.
And as I sat there and journaled, it was like, what is it that's wrong about this?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm watching somebody who is in the guru seat.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the person who brought them in as essentially like their sponsor. They're like the MC, but like co-facilitator. And there was a really odd dynamic between the two of them.
Yeah.
The kind of the guru, the expert, sat in a chair, partially because she's like 90.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. And then the other person was like kneeling on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I think some of that was personal preference. I'm not 100% sure. At the very beginning, they were like, you really need to listen to this person. She's the embodiment of the grandmother archetype. And immediately my system was like, time out.
Yeah.
Like, well, we don't want to be the embodiment of an archetype. That's problematic on its own.
Yeah.
But to have somebody else say that to me or about me,
Yeah.
there's a lot of transference happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, something's wrong here.
Yeah.
And then whenever they would interact, I'm watching someone who's between 30 and 40 look to this other person with that, like, almost like they looked like a young child.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, your like inner child wound for this mentor parent figure is being met or sought for in this figure.
Yeah.
And you've completely given yourself over.
Yeah. Oh, that's so rough. Okay. I have so many thoughts about this whole experience. I want to talk about the mechanism of what you did. But before I get to that, I want to talk about this like dynamic that was created between the two of them. Because first of all, like if that works for you, great. Like who am I to judge it? But second of all, don't assume everybody is going to have that experience and don't try to create that experience for everybody, right? Like, why not just present, hey, here's somebody who's, has some wisdom. I mean, 90 years of life. You've got some wisdom I want to listen to. Whether I agree with it or not, I'm still going to find it interesting. But don't try to manufacture an experience for me. That's performative spirituality, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so frustrating. Okay. But I want to come back to the mechanism of what you did here because it's so interesting to me. So one, your body is like, this isn't working for me. I got to get out of here. But there are going to be some costs to that. And the benefit of leaving does not outweigh the cost of what would happen if I left. Okay. So we stick around and we make it work. You became an anthropologist to your experience, which I'm telling my clients all the time. If you can get to that place, one, you've created a little bit of distance, which is helpful. It's a therapeutic dissociation, right? But you also engaged that curiosity part of your mind, which is that prefrontal cortex, which gets you back into the moment and out of that fight or flight mode.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's true. Yeah. It was really interesting.
Brilliant. It's brilliant that you did this. To like take notes on it. Also, the mechanism of writing even is a bilateral stimulation that also helps to calm your system. You listened to your body. You did what your body told you to, and your body was right.
That's true.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that part of like the human experience and like human behavior.
Yeah, well, it was interesting because one of the things that came out of it was like, why does this all feel so performative?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, there was some clarity that came from that of like, oh, wait, this feels performative.
Yeah. That kind of stream of consciousness writing also another way to engage that prefrontal cortex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it really has. I've started to use that in other times too. Like other times I just leave.
Yeah.
I position myself strategically in a room where I'm like, okay, I can
just leave. Yeah.
I mean, I do have this is just my personal battle. I really struggle to sit with my back to the door. Thank you, PTSD.
Yep.
Right.
Yes. That's familiar.
Right. That experience of hypervigilance is really stressful when I sit with my back to a door.
Yeah.
For really understandable reasons. So I generally sit across from the door, or sometimes will sit like down the wall so I can still see the door.
Totally.
But like, I also don't have to walk across the room to leave.
Yeah. Yeah, sitting against a wall. That's like always my like at the side of a room so I can see everybody. I can see the front, I can see the exit. Yeah.
But yeah, so now I try and sit as close to the door as I can be without causing myself distress.
Yeah.
So that way, if I need to, I can just exit very easily. And if for some reason I can't, I always have my journal with me. And then that way I can just start writing down.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just I feel really off and I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is enough. Yeah. The way that I often do it is whether it's at work, whether it's at a family function, whether it's at a religious function, I have somebody I can text about it. And that's, it's like, can you believe what is being said right now? Or let me tell you what they just said. And like I live tweet it almost. But yeah, it's the same kind of concept. It's that stream of consciousness. This is what's happening right now. My ability to be able to name it, one, gives me a power over it. It gets it out of my brain. And again, I become an anthropologist to my experience. I'm like Jane Goodall among the gorillas.
Yeah. It's really powerful.
Yeah.
Because it's regulating and it builds insight.
Yes.
So then that way we can really start to understand what is it that's happening in here.
Yeah.
Because I think all of us need these spiritual experiences. Like we need to develop the spiritual capacity of our psyche.
Yes.
Individually and collectively. We need that.
Yep.
And also I think because we need it, we also can have a sense of what right and wrong feel like. And we need a way to be able to honor when it's not right.
Right. Well, and because we need it also, it can be monetized. And it is monetized. And I mean, whether it's with actual money or just in a way that becomes you have to come to me to get it.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is such a difficult thing, right? You know, like how do we live in a capitalist society and honor like kind of the unique gifts that people can bring to help others in their exploration of the spiritual dynamic of their psyche.
Right. Yeah. Well, and yeah, to offer even another thing is how do we live in a capitalist society, but also weed out that internal capitalist within me, right? That bases value on worth, on production, on whatever else.
Yeah. Which makes me feel like, I mean, that can be another indicator of what's the type of experience I'm getting into.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Does this like, because there's going to be some like monetary transactions of some sort in many instances.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
And also like when I look at the nature of this, like what's really happening here? Am I dealing with rainbow capitalism?
Yes.
Am I dealing with maybe something maybe not as extreme as rainbow capitalism? Am I dealing with something that's maybe still focused on the lucrative opportunity that it is?
Yes.
Right? Like what's really happening here?
Okay, so I just saw this recently this week. So what is real popular right now in my corner of the internet is this queer hockey show, right? It's all over the place. And there's been some, discussion about, how much of it is kind of in the rainbow capitalism realm or not. But recently, one of the NHL hockey teams started selling the fictional jerseys of these characters, right? And so there was like, okay, are they just making a buck off of it? But what they're doing is donating the proceeds of all of that to a queer hockey league that they support, which is really beautiful, right? So that's like that difference between the rainbow capitalism that is performative in nature and the rainbow capitalism that is beneficial to those communities that are underprivileged. And the same is true for spirituality, for religious stuff, right? Like, yes, there are mega churches out there who are making millions, even billions of dollars off of their followers, right? But what are they then doing with that money? had seen it. I was on social media or something recently that it's not the job of the government to take care of the poor. It's the job of the churches. But how many churches are out there that are actually doing that, right? When the government was cutting back SNAP benefits and EBT and, money to Planned Parenthood and whatever else, where were the churches? Were they stepping in and doing that kind of a thing? And I think some of them were, but I know a lot who were not.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when you start looking at things like that, it gets really sobering really quick.
Yeah. Well, and I think that is genuinely, at least right now in our current social and political climate, the message of performative spirituality is that when you claim to be a Christian, are you actually following those teachings that Jesus talked about, where he was feeding the poor, where he was leaving the 99 and seeking out the one, where he was at home with the quote unquote sinners, right? Like that's the real message of performative spirituality right now. It's performative religion.
Yeah, I definitely see that. And it, like one of the things that you were saying that really resonated, it's like this idea of like, what are you grounded in?
Mm-hmm.
Right? When we look at, like if we use Christianity as an example, like, are you grounded in the doctrine of the religion?
Mm-hmm.
Are you grounded in the cultural practices? Right?
Yeah.
And sometimes they're close and sometimes they are aligned, but more often than not, at least from what I see, is that cultural practices tend to deviate pretty significantly from doctrine. I also see it in some other, like outside of organized religion too. Like I see it in other spaces where it's like, what are you grounded in?
Mm-hmm.
And you get the sense of like, well, you're actually not grounded.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like blown around by whatever new thing you come across.
Right.
And that just becomes your new thing.
Yeah.
Versus I actually I actually am grounded in the way that I orient to the world, the way I orient to spirituality, to connection. And this new thing that I'm learning or experiencing, I'm putting it in. I'm like running it through my filter.
Yeah. Yeah. This is why doing that internal work is so important, right? Being able to identify and name what are my core values? What are the things that have stuck with me through over years and years of life, right? What do I keep coming back to? And can I use that as an anchor in moving forward, in making decisions, in deciding where I spend my time, where I spend my money, where I give my energy, right? But that is that internal work. It's not just like knowing yourself, it's being able to name the things also. Here are my values. Here's where I'm aligned. Here's my anchor in this world.
Yeah. It's such a big deal. It's so important.
Yeah.
I mean, like we talk about it, like the way we talk about it as therapists is often like, what's your theoretical orientation?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like you kind of get the sense, like when people get like swept up in the modality race, and like, oh, what's the newest, hottest, biggest thing?
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's your orientation?
Yeah.
Like, how do you orient to the work? It's like, oh, well, I'm a psychodynamic, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I think you can tell that's not my orientation.
Whatever that other one is.
That stuff that people use.
Yes.
No shade. That's your jam.
Just doesn't align with you.
Not me, right? Okay. I got my little trifecta, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like I love Carl Rogers.
Uh-huh.
And I love some existentialism.
Yeah.
And I love my depth psychology.
Yeah.
Those are my people.
Yep. I probably could have named that for you. Yeah.
But everything gets filtered through that.
Yeah.
Right. And like my particular orientation, even to depth psychology, is like more of an eco depth psychology.
Yeah.
Rather than just like a pure Jungian.
Yeah.
And so like when I learn something new, I like run it through the filter.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about tarot.
Yeah.
Like I like spent, like 6-12 months just focusing on like, I want to understand tarot. I just kept filtering it through that lens.
Yeah.
filtering it through and filtering it through. And it's like, I really struggle with the idea of tarot as divination.
Yeah.
For me personally, I struggle with that.
Yeah.
It does not fit. So when I use tarot cards, I don't use it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That makes perfect sense. I had the same experience. My orientation is very like informed by feminist theory and by intersectional feminism. I was recently preparing a training for couples work for relational therapy and realized I draw much more towards relational cultural theory, which is feminist based, than some of these other ones that are not feminist based at all. Because yes, we do. We run those things through our worldview, whatever it is. And if we can name it, so much the easier to be able to understand it and explain it.
Without that grounding approach,
Yeah.
like without being grounded in anything,
Mm-hmm.
like you run a real risk of everything that you do becoming performative.
Yeah.
Because it's not rooted in anything.
Right.
You're going through the motions.
Yeah.
Like that foundational orientation to the work, not just therapy, but to anything, the foundational orientation, like that is what guides the objective you're working towards too. We're trying to get somewhere.
Yeah.
We're trying to facilitate an experience, and then we're trying to like help people within that scope.
Yes.
But if you're not grounded in anything,
Yes.
if the experience itself, like the trappings are the goal,
Yeah.
if how many people are crying is the goal.
Yes. Oh, that's such a good point. Like, yes, we want the experiences, but the experience isn't the goal, right? The goal is transformation. The goal is greater well-being. The goal is greater connectedness, right? The experience facilitates that, gives us a framework, gives us a blueprint to be able to recreate it, but it's not the thing, right? Like the destination isn't the thing. The journey is the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's a connection of the spiritual bypass, right?
Yeah.
Of like, I'm trying to skip the journey and get to the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Which certainly you can perform that and like fool a lot of people that way.
Yeah.
There was, when we were preparing for this, I told you about this documentary that I watched years and years ago called Kumari, which is about this Indian man who wants to make a documentary about like building a following, you know. And so what he does, it's a great, like if you can find the documentary, go watch it. It's really good. But he takes on this persona of an Indian guru, and he, you know, changes the way he talks. He changes the way he dresses. This actually happened here in Arizona, and he developed this following. And after weeks of like fleecing these people into thinking he's this spiritual guru, he's realizing that I've like created real relationships with these people, and I'm starting to feel bad about this, you know, performance that I've been doing, and I've got to now tell these people. And it's such a beautiful experience that then that becomes the thing that the documentary is about. Not about like, you know, haha, anybody will fall for anything, but that he has this connective experience with these people, and then he has to come clean about it. And it's genuinely really beautiful documentary, I think. Of course, it's been, I don't know, came out in 2011, so it's been a long time since I've watched it. But yeah, it started out as a performance, and it appeared to become a real actual spiritual experience of deep connection and like regret that this man had about what had happened. And the way that his quote unquote followers responded to it when he did come clean is very interesting. I mean, some of them are really hurt and, you know, say, okay, goodbye. And some of them are like, okay, I hear you. But I also did have a very spiritual experience in this that I appreciated.
Yeah. Which is like, it's such a beautiful example, right? Like, because I think we can all find ourselves in these performative moments.
Yeah.
And especially with other people.
Yes.
Like, it's really easy for us to like find ourselves in a space with another person where they push on those things that we have within us.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I have a need to be seen.
Yeah.
I have a need to be appreciated. I have a need to be acknowledged. And then they push on all of those, and they just give us everything that our system is saying like, yes, please, like
Yeah.
heal my wounds.
Yes.
And it's so easy to find ourselves in that position and then to just go with it.
Yeah.
Say, sure.
Yeah.
Because if I do this for you, you'll make me feel this way.
Oh, yeah.
When in reality, the important thing is to be able to like name it and give it back, give the transference back.
Yes.
And just say like, hey, like I'm so honored that you are feeling things.
Yeah.
And also like it's also feeling to me like you're giving me something that doesn't belong to me.
Yeah. I think that that's actually one of the things that we run into a lot as therapists that we have to be very, very careful about, right? Because our clients are giving us so much of them, and that transference can happen so easily. And it can be really scary as a therapist to like be recognizing that that's happening and knowing how to navigate that and help our clients to navigate that and help them to be able to like, yes, this is a experience that you're having right now, which is wonderful and great. And I want you to be having that experience. I want you to be feeling that connection so that you can go out into the real world and recreate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, it is really scary. It's intense.
Yeah.
Like the phrase that usually tips me off is, well, you're the expert here.
Oh, yeah. And I always stop them. I'm like, no. I happen to have a little bit more education in one area. You are the expert here. You're the expert on you. You're the expert on your experience.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right. When especially it's like, and sometimes you can even just push a little bit and say, well, I'm really curious about that. Like,
oh, you're so good. Oh, look at that good therapy.
It's like, how did we get to where we got to?
Yeah.
Here's kind of what came up from this. I'm curious, where did that come from?
Yeah. Grist for the mill. Good job.
It's like, did that come from me? 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't say those things.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
I wrote it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I held the space. Like maybe I helped make it possible, safe enough to be vulnerable enough.
Yeah.
Which, okay.
Yeah.
I have some education and training in that.
Yeah.
But you're the expert.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah.
It's your inner wisdom, not mine.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I love giving that back to clients. Like, no, you said that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun. I mean, I already said this, but it is such a fun experience when a client like drops those like gems and they don't even realize it. And you're like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which it is hard to do, like sometimes to be willing to say, because like a lot of us have those parts. Like we want to be validated.
Yeah.
I want you to acknowledge that I actually am really good at what I do.
Yes.
Like
I love it when my clients tell me I'm a great therapist.
Right? Yes. And it's like, okay, I can receive that.
Yes.
And say, okay, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And also like, it was so hard to give this back to you.
Yeah.
It is hard.
Yeah.
Because it feels so good.
Yes. Yeah, it does. I spent a lot of time developing my craft and being good at what I do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if maybe we just like if there's a way to sum up or bring things together.
Okay. So then my question would be, what is performative spirituality? How do we recognize it? And how do we avoid it in ourselves, especially?
Those are some good questions.
Yeah. Okay. So give me the answer. Oh. You're the expert here.
Oh, don't you do that to me.
Rude.
I think we're in the space of fellow travelers.
Oh, all right. Fine.
So performative spirituality. So we're having spiritual experiences, transcendent, non-dual, and or mystical experiences.
Okay.
Where the emphasis is on the performance, the trappings, the forms,
the language. Yeah.
And is not grounded or rooted in the body and like a guiding orientation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Instead,
it is rooted in transference.
Yeah.
And like ego inflation.
Yeah. So I was going to say the accolades we can get from it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So recognizing it, I mean, our body is it's a pretty good indicator of what's happening.
Agreed.
We have some type of internal mechanism that will help us know something is off here.
Yep.
We should listen to that.
Yep.
It could be that I need to reframe something that maybe something I'm confused about.
Yeah.
But it also can be, oh, this is really bad. Like, this is not appropriate.
Yeah.
We can listen for terms that seem to be like grandiose sometimes. Like we used this person embodies this archetype. Like that's a real loaded thing to say.
Yeah. I think in that same vein, like promises made. If you can reach this level of spirituality, everything will be better. If you can just do this, all of your anger and all of your pain will disappear.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yikes.
It just makes me feel so bad inside.
Yeah. Yep.
And I've heard it so many times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there is like a minimization that happens, a minimizing of the experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard somebody say once, if you can just forgive yourself, your anger will disappear. I was like,
A, no.
That's just a no. That's just a hard no for me.
Also, B, I don't want my anger to disappear because anger is important.
Exactly. And anger is not always an internal thing. Anger might be because my boundaries have been crossed. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Anger is really helpful.
Yeah.
It's protective, creates space.
Yeah.
It like motivates change.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Side quest. Okay. So grandiose promises.
Yes.
Yeah.
Minimizing difficulty, minimizing journey, like promising outcomes.
Yeah.
Particularly shortcuts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So then how do we avoid performative spirituality in ourselves? Or even falling for it in someone else?
I would say the first thing is being willing to acknowledge and connect to like what we are putting, like the energy we're putting into the dynamic.
Okay. Yeah.
Just being really clear on what is my intention, like what am I looking for?
Mm-hmm.
And there is often something below the surface. If I just hit the surface level and I'm like, I really want to have a deeper experience. Okay, cool. Push below that. What is driving what we're looking for?
Yeah.
As the quote unquote guru, like the person in like the facilitator role, we've got to recognize when transference happens and be willing to give it back.
Mm-hmm.
You can't keep it.
Yeah.
You have to give it back.
Yes.
You know, it hurts.
Yes.
And then also like, so the honesty with ourselves, the honesty with like the transference in the relational field, that's the first step.
Mm-hmm.
And also being really willing to like explore and be curious about what is really happening.
Yes. Oh, be curious. I think that's so important. Curious about what's happening with you, what's happening with the other person, what's happening with everybody else, right? Because, right, one person may be having a spiritual experience and another person may be in like, this is all BS and get me out of here, right? And we don't want to necessarily negate either one, but being curious about that. I would add that like mindfulness layer, right? Always doing your own work. But I'm always going to come back to mindfulness. Mindfulness is such a huge part of it.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we were talking about like my experience in that meeting, like because I've been developing this like mindfulness, like that somatic awareness of my body.
That mind-body connection.
Right? Well, I was able to recognize something is wrong here.
Yeah.
And then I was able to just sit with it. Like I didn't immediately say I have to get out of here.
Right.
It was something feels off and I don't know what it is.
And you got curious about it.
What is it that feels off?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Okay, is this like a good kind of weird? Because like sometimes things are weird and I'm
it's
like,
growth edge.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, this is a weird thing, but I'm here for it.
Yeah.
But this was like this is weird and I don't like it.
Yeah.
This isn't cool. But I had to be curious and like continue to check in and be mindfully aware like what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a big one. I would also say really like be willing to do a little bit of curious research about the experience, about the facilitator.
Yeah.
What are they into?
Yeah. What other people have said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What they've done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What kind of work they've done themselves.
Yeah, you can do some interviewing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an important thing,
It is.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we've come back to therapy as like a kind of experience we're looking at. I can't remember how many therapists I interviewed before I started working with the one I'm working with.
Yeah.
I would say 6,
Wow.
7.
Good job.
Some of it was like trial and error. I
Yeah.
want to do some therapy with you. I'm not into it.
Yeah.
Do some therapy with you. I'm really not into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good
Yeah.
job.
Yeah. But it's like, you got to be willing to just talk to people, interview them,
Yeah.
see what's up.
Yeah. And try it out too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I often tell people like you got to try a thing once or twice. If it's not for you, if it's a mistake, whatever, great, good data. Like
Mm-hmm.
we don't know where our boundaries are unless we cross them every once in a while. So yeah.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I was also thinking that there are some types of experiences that can be spiritual or mystical
Mm-hmm.
that once you start, the clock just keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking more like the psychedelic type journeys.
Yeah.
I would say don't start there.
Yes. Yeah. Don't dive into the deep end. Like,
Yes.
Start in the waiting pool.
Exactly.
Yes.
Which I think that's a conversation for a different day.
Yeah.
If you're looking at psychedelics as a way for being mystical,
Yeah.
be like, just start with a no.
Yeah. 100%. Yes.
Mhm.
Psychedelics are an amazing tool, but it is definitely a tool that is not for everybody.
Right. That should be approached with extreme caution.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Great. I love it. Here
Okay.
for it.
Yeah. Performative spirituality.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's
It
in
is
us.
everywhere. Yep.
Mm.
Good luck on your journeys. You got this.
If this conversation stirred discomfort, skepticism, or self-recognition, that's not a problem to solve. It is a place to listen. Performative spirituality, it's not something that only happens out there. It lives wherever there's a gap between what we know and what we've metabolized, between what we say and how we live. And that gap, it's not a moral failure, it's a developmental one. And rather than asking, is this spiritual enough? Is this authentic? A more useful question might be, what am I actually embodying right now? And what is still aspirational? Depth takes time, and integration is a process. And real spiritual work rarely looks as clean or compelling as it sounds. It often looks much more like humility, ongoing repair, and a willingness to stay in relationship, both with ourselves and with others, even when certainty falls away. If you're navigating your own spiritual path, especially after disillusionment or harm, let this be an invitation to move at the speed of honesty rather than performance. The work doesn't need to be impressive, it needs to be lived. Over the next few days, notice where spiritual language shows up in your life, not just in what you say, but in how you listen and how you relate. Pay attention to the places where expression and embodiment feel aligned, and where there's a gap, asking for patience rather than performance. And if this episode resonated, we'd love for you to stay in the conversation. You can share it with someone that you trust, or join us online where we're continuing to explore these questions in community. And I'd just like to say thank you for spending time with us. And as always, keep delving deep and embracing the journey.